In business and life, you need courage to be successful. You need courage to have tough conversations. You need courage to speak up in meetings boldly. You need courage to be able to show your expertise and your brilliance to the world without backing down and hiding. You need courage to be able to make the sale to the clients that you would like to sell to. And if you want to ask someone out on a date, you need courage to do that. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how you can regularly access the powerful resource of courage as a stepping stone to help you to build the successful building blocks to win in 2020. Are you ready? Let's do this. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. This is Keisha, your career and business confidence coach, equipping you to win by owning your inherent brilliance, eliminating your shrinking tendencies so that you will dominate in your field or industry. Click on the subscribe button below as well as the bell and you will be notified of when I upload my weekly Wednesday videos, and you can follow me on social media at Keisha Winter. By the way, if you notice, I have a different background. I am traveling this week in Toronto, Canada, so that's why it looks a little bit different. But let's get into the content. So tip number one is to write down examples of past hard successes and affirm them. And the reason that we're doing it is because there is a thing called the brain's negativity bias that allows us or causes us to focus on negative things, negative experiences, failures, much more than we would focus on things that are positive. And so a lot of times you hear about doing affirmations and saying positive things. However, if we don't inherently believe the things that we're saying, the affirmations will not be effective. They will not work. And I have found one of the most powerful ways to believe in the affirmations that I'm saying is to actually base it on past successes, past real life experiences. So I'll give you one example. Early in my career, I think it was my first role that I actually interviewed for. I didn't know this at the time, but I was one of 10 people that interviewed for that position. After being in the role for a couple of years, I found a file and I recognized that there were 9 other people that interviewed for the role, and on paper, I was the least qualified. But I got the job because of my energy, my passion, my hard work, and probably my effective communication skills. And in future interviews, whenever I felt nervous, I reminded myself of my effective communication skills. I reminded myself of the value that I bring to an organization. I reminded myself of my hard work and my diligence. I reminded myself of my brilliance. And it wasn't just something that made me feel good. It was actually based on proven experience or proven examples of when I've done it in the past. And so by doing this, we are rewiring our brain to see the positive things in us, in ourselves, rewiring our brain to actually own our brilliance, as what I said in the beginning of the video. This is just a practical and tactical step. And I'll go a little bit more into detail on this in my free resource that I'm going to give to you at the end of this video. So stay to the end of the video to hear more about this free resource, where I'll explain a little bit more about how the amygdala, described here, the amygdala is a part of our brain that processes emotions such as fear and doubt and unbelief and danger much faster than the more logical part of our brain, which is called the prefrontal cortex. And if you think about this hand model, the prefrontal cortex is right here. And when we get into fear and self-doubt, or logical part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex is hijacked and it comes off the line. And see right here, you see the amygdala, the illogical, fearful, irrational part of our brain being exposed. And the only way we're gonna bring back the prefrontal cortex back online are to do things such as reasoning and rationalization. And most of the time when people do affirmations, a lot of times it doesn't work because it's just based on just feel good things. But when we look at the evidence of past successes and we affirm ourselves based on these past successes, it's much easier for us to believe and get the brain back online. And then we're able to sit with our brilliance, to sit with our power, to sit with the things that we do well and own it, and be able to really believe that we're capable of these things. So the first one was a little bit longer. I'm gonna go into more details. If you hang out to the end of this video, you'll hear about my free resource where I tell you other strategies to get your brain back online so that you will deactivate the amygdala hijack that's going on in our brain, and that we will really resonate with our more powerful self and let go of the scripting and the negative writing of fear, doubt, and unbelief. Tip number 2 is to create courage momentum. You've heard the expression that whatever an object is in motion will stay in motion. So I want to encourage you, don't just go from someone who doesn't take courageous action to someone who occasionally takes courageous action. If you want to actually change how you show up and change who you are, every single day, challenge yourself to do something that is scary for you. And if you do it consistently for 21, 30, 60, 90 days, you will essentially change the trajectory of your entire year. I know at the beginning of every year, like now in January, people make resolutions. But the thing that stops people from accomplishing their goals at the end of the year is that they have not created an action plan to bring these resolutions, to bring these goals to pass. And so this is one powerful thing that you can do every single day this year, every single day in 2020, is to challenge yourself. It doesn't have to be something big, but commit to doing something that scares you every day. It could be, even having a tough conversation with someone. It could be doing a presentation. It could be speaking up in a meeting. It could be talking to people that you would normally not speak to. It could be being vocal about an injustice that you've seen. Listen, it could even just be as simple as really requesting time or taking time for yourself to practice self-care, because a lot of times it takes courage for us to step up and put ourselves first. What's scary for me, as I said in a previous video, may not be scary for you, but the thing is you will get a lot of energy and momentum and exhilaration by doing that scary thing. So if you want to be a part of a community who's going to be doing this in the month of February, I'm going to have a 21-day Take Courage Action Challenge. I mentioned it on the last video and a few people reached out to me. I will be included in the link in the description below how you can take part in this absolutely free challenge so that we can encourage and push each other to continue to grow and to create a life that we have never seen and blow our mind in 2020. Tip number 3 in making courage a habit in 2020 is preparation. You've heard the expression that success is when opportunity meets preparation. Whatever it is that you want to put your hand to be successful, to do over the next few weeks, over the next few months, or the next year, it is important to do your research, to be prepared. There may be actions in addition to doing research that you may need to take. You may need to practice. If you're a speaker, you've got to practice. If you want to do much more effective work at making sales, if you're a business person, then you've got to practice. Put yourself in the situation over and over again. You may even need to consult experts and coaches, and you may need to think about the things that you've done in the past that didn't work and ensure that you tweak it and change it to make it more effective going forward. Whatever you do, make sure that you take the steps to prepare. And I want to warn you, don't get stuck in analysis paralysis and over preparation. Prepare, but then you draw a line in the sand when you just move. You just go for it, as Nike said, to just do it. So don't get stuck in just over analyzing and preparation. We want to make preparation. We want to take the action that we need to take to be able to succeed and to plan and to think ahead. But don't get stuck. Don't allow planning preparation to be a form of sabotage mechanism for you to cause you to be stuck. So Tip number 3 is to be prepared. Tip number 4 is learning to live in your duality. A lot of us are not able to own our strengths because we're not able to own our weaknesses. When you're stepping up and daring, as Brene Brown says, daring to be brave, daring to play big, we are going to encounter obstacles. We will encounter failures. And a lot of times shame come in because we think we are never supposed to make mistakes. But with our brilliance comes our imperfections. With our strengths comes our weaknesses. With our faith comes our doubts. With our laughs comes our tears. With our boldness comes, again, our fears. And with our glory comes sometimes shame. And embracing all of us, all of ourselves, in all our glorious mess, it sets us free from not setting this expectation, this unrealistic expectation that everything is going to go perfectly and that we will be perfect. Nor will it allow us to over-identify with our failures. We take the failures, we learn from them, and we recognize that even if we fail, we can get up again and keep going. And so we give ourselves permission to recognize how amazing, how powerful, how brilliant we are without allowing our ego to tell us that everything must be perfect. But we recognize that in our perfection is our beauty. In our imperfection is our beauty. So will you give yourself permission to live in your duality, in all of you, and not over-identify with the weak side? That's what I see so many women in particular that hold themselves back in business, is that they over-identify with their fear. We over-identify, because I do it sometimes, with our worry. We over-identify with our weakness, and we haven't learned to release that and embrace our strength, to embrace the powerful side of us. And so I want to give you permission today to live in your duality. Tell me, which one of these tips most resonated with you? I want you to drop it in the comments below. So excited, I have the free resource called How to Rewire Your Brain for Courage and Success that will help you this year with practical, tactical steps that you can take to undo the programming of fear that you've had for so many years that causes you to shrink and hide back, and steps that you can take to actually build that courage muscle and to rewire your brain to take courageous action and to set yourself up for success. So look at the links in the description below on how to access this free resource. If you got a lot of value out of today's video, please share it with a friend. I'm also going to link in the description below some links to the blog posts related to this video, as well as other videos that are related to perfectionism and how to build courage in your business, in your life, as well as in your career. But that's all for this week. I will see you next week. And don't forget, you are not meant to shrink down lower, so rise up and own your power. Have a great week.